It's such a tough period, and I want to talk in a few minutes about some of the side effects and what you did to get through it, because I know our viewers want to find out information about where we are in this disease as well. But let me switch gears to get your take on the political season right now, because I guess do you feel like you're the establishment?
I certainly don't, because I feel like Mitt is also an outsider.
I think you're right. Yeah.
He was going to be the guy that probably would have shaken up Washington, D.C. if he'd gotten in there. I think he would have restructured government. I think he would have tried to minimize the impact of how structured Washington is. You know, nothing has changed in our government since it was first formed. And, you know, models in business, as you know, have to change to be competitive. He looked at the United States of America as a competition. Who were our competitors? Russia, geopolitically, Russia. Who are the other competitors? Radical jihad and all of that was going on. Who was another competitor? China. So he was looking at it as a structure of the United States, trying to make the United States stay strong and competitive with these other strategies. He says, by the way, free democracy does not have to be the thing that's going to rule the world for the next coming century unless we modify and change and get competitive with some of these things that are going on. And as you can see, Putin is, man, he is
glad you mentioned that. You're right, because I think Mitt Romney mentioned Putin, I mean, unsolicited. He came out and said, look, you know, this is what's happening in Russia. We need to be careful. I would be much tougher with Putin. And since he said that, it's only rang true.
Yeah.
So he was among the first to really point that out, and he was obviously absolutely right about that, among other things. But as you see the campaign taking shape, and you see all these outsiders in the lead, like Donald Trump and Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina, what do you think about it?
I think it's a sentiment. I think it's not necessarily a specific candidate right now. I think it's a sentiment. And the sentiment is we are frustrated, we are fed up, and we want change, and we want someone outside the system that, you know, they want a bull in a china shop to just like, what's going on here? We want someone to come in and make things work again. I think it's a sentiment and a mood. I think as we get closer, we will then take a closer look as who has the right temperament, the right personality, the right background, the right experience. So right now, I wouldn't put too much on the individual, but more on the sentiment.
Particularly since when you look at the last cycle where we were at this time, you had people like Herman Cain in the lead and Rudy Giuliani in the lead, and everything changed quite dramatically. But the truth is when the next person does take the lead as running the greatest country in the world, we are going to see real issues that person has to deal with, like the Iran deal. You know, that's part of the upset. People are looking at things happening that they didn't really agree with.
Yeah, there's a frustration there. There's no question about it. And you know, these things are difficult to understand in sound bites. I mean, there's so much nuance to something like the Iran deal, and it's at the same time I think feel that we're giving away too much, that we're weaker, that we're being taken advantage of. And I think those sentiments are pretty real. I think they look at someone like a Putin and say, he's playing chess, we're playing checkers.
Right.
And I mean, I think that's why Mitt can play chess and why people are, like, you know, uncomfortable with what's going on. I think they feel like we're selling the store and we're giving away too much.
Given where we are in that sentiment right now, do you wish he did in fact run this time around? I mean, I think people look back at that last run and say, you know, he was right on a lot of issues.
There's no question that Mitt would be a wonderful president, but we made the decision in January. We thought about it for 20 seconds. And we chose not to get involved. And every day, Mitt and I are looking at each other going, oh, we're having so much fun.
Yeah.
Our life is wonderful. There's no question he would be a good president. And, you know, we loved the whole process. We're watching it carefully. But we made that decision not to get involved.
And it took you all of 20 seconds to
20
do so.
seconds.
All right, so in terms of multiple sclerosis, what did you face in terms of side effects? Where are we in terms of cures and dealing with this disease?
Well,
what do we know?
Right now, I mean, there's two sort of types of multiple sclerosis, relapsing, remitting, and progressive. There's never been a drug for progressive. Right now, there's a drug that's coming out that will address progressive MS, which is very, very tough to treat. In addition, I would like to say that I'm also heading a center called the Ann Romney Center for Neurologic Disease. And at that center, we're bringing 250 scientists and researchers under one roof to study not just multiple sclerosis, but other brain and neurologic diseases, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, ALS, Parkinson's, and brain tumors. We are, at that center, they are making enormous breakthroughs. They are working on a drug for Alzheimer's, a nasal vaccine for Alzheimer's. We are working on, for the very first time, a treatment for ALS. So things are happening in the neurosciences. They have had a backseat to all the progression that's been made in other diseases, cancer and heart and lung. The neurosciences are now, it's time. It's absolutely time to start making breakthroughs, and we have the diagnostic tools and the ability now to get inside that brain and find out that a lot of these neurologic diseases are related. A lot of the treatments are correlated with each other. We are doing that so that we can accelerate the research and bring more treatments and cures for those.
I totally agree with you. I think we're at the doorstep of a huge revolution in terms of the brain, whether it be autism, MS, or Alzheimer's, because we mapped the genome over the last 15 years. Now we have all this information, and for that time we were focused on heart disease, diabetes, cancer, but now we're right in front of this revolution when it comes to the brain. We're learning much more than we ever have.
We are, and honestly, there are things coming, there are things that are happening in the lab which we know take years before that we have treatments, but it's there. I see what's happening in the research. It's a very exciting time.
Real quick, who do you think will be the president of this country? What does your gut tell you?
Oh, what does my gut tell me? I really haven't thought about who our nominee really will be. I cannot decide who our nominee will be, but I expect that we are not going to have a third term of the Obama administration. So I expect that the Republican, whoever that nominee will be, will have a very good chance.
And good book. Great to have you on the program. Great book. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Ann Romney joining us there, and the book is In This Together. Up next.